right, that's hanging from the piece that just runs through and it laser cuts.
But okay.
Right.
From the computer.
Right, yeah. So everything is computerized. The original file is an Illustrator file, essentially.
But you know, what I don't understand is, you know, we all see laser lights, but how does it's a different?
It's a needle.
A frequency of light that cuts the.
It cuts with high heat.
It's infrared.
Oh,
Coming
okay.
at 10 micron.
And so super precise.
It's right. Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Huh.
So, a lot of things like the smaller detail. I do a lot of hand cutting too. That's sort of how I started with these paper cuts. I had done everything by hand. I mean, to do this by hand, take a while. But some of the curves even, I mean, it might be possible, but with the laser cutter, of course, it makes like any shape it can cut, and it's quite amazing.
So does it burn the paper?
It burns the paper, but it leaves the marks. Most of the burnt is actually on the inside. Like you can't see, but on the other side you can see the burned marks. But on this side, it's pristine.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, some people, I have some photographs in the gallery. People come and they like literally sniff it and come through, and they like really want to see. I have them floated. They're not glued to the background. I have everything floating. So there's a space between the paper and the backing, and they make some nice here. Yeah, here you can see that it's floated in this photograph. This is a really zoomed in, just a detail.
So the gold leaf is on.
And the gold leaf is later.
Layered on top of the paper.
Yeah, gold leaf is like really layered. There are many layers of it. So I would apply a layer, then I go with a brush and I
burnish it. Yeah.
Right, I remove the places. So I would put glue on the back. There are different ways of how you can adhere gold leaf to paper. But I remove the areas. I like how it's sort of not very defined. It's just ripped. And then if I remove too much, I go back and I put some more. And then, but yeah, my whole studio was in gold. It had this gold leaf everywhere. It's very light.
Yeah, oh, it is. Yeah.
Right, very
like
thin.
Micron thin. Yeah.
You have to be so careful when you transfer it. Use white gloves.
Wow.
Do you, ahead of time, pencil the entire design as your guide?
Right.
I was wondering at first, are you directing this laser printing design as you went? And I thought, ooh, that would be just...
It's a process which starts, so that's why I call them process drawings, because there's so many steps before the final piece. And so it starts, I do a lot of, like I have a sketch pad, right, and I sketch. Then I do it on the computer, but I do 3D rendering, so that's my sort of, one of my kind of guides initially. And I make these 3D renderings, I make shapes, and then I cut them out, and everything is virtual, right? And then once it renders, it makes a picture. And when the picture is made, that becomes sort of another layer of a template. And then I use that template again, everything is like in the computer. Then I decide, okay, I like this part, I add that part, and then I combine this. I mean, it's a process, right? Like everything with art, you just have to sort of go through things. Yeah, so
what's the size of this one?
so this is a 6 feet by 4
Oh,
feet.
whoa, wow.
Paper, but the board is slightly larger.
Wow.
They're cool. They're big. Yeah, I was telling you yesterday. I had all of them flat. I was working on them flat. And I crowded myself out of the studio because when I had all 3 of them, I was just like, okay, breathe in, walk between, turn around, cut here. So it was,
That's amazing.
it was quite interesting. I have funny photographs. And another thing too is I like to work like on drawings. I like to work vertically so that I can, you know, step back and look at the piece and make decisions. But with these, because they were all flat, I had to work on them this way. So I had ladders, and I would climb up and just kind of look at them, or try to extend my arms, take photograph, and look at it, see if I like it, and you know, proceed. Yeah, it was quite something.
Wow.
So I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I noticed that of the first 5 or 6 pieces you showed us, the palette was a very dull red superimposed on a gray, which kind of reminded me of a bedroom my mother showed me once in a house that she worked in. It was all done in gray carpet and drapes with red bedspread. I always thought that was elegant. But then the figures are all sort of the same style, I guess is a good word. So my question on this one is, did you do this as a set, using that whole theme that carried through, or was that just a spontaneous thing that happened as you started to develop each piece, as you thought about it?
Wow.
Right.
That's a heck of a question.
Yeah.
Gee.
You know, in my work, I guess I bounce between this sort of idea of representational, drawing figure representationally, which is more or less this or that, although they're abstracted, but they're not those figures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I really like the figure that has not a lot of reference to physicality. It's just kind of, I mean, you look at it and you know it's a human, right? It's got a head and it has legs, it doesn't even have arms. It's just like really bare minimum. And I think in this particular work, it's important that the mother has all the sort of attributes of the mother. And the victims, it almost, when we have these school shootings, it almost doesn't matter, I guess, who got killed. It's the fact that it's happening. And I think in my work, there's a lot of that. Like, I think in that double sun piece, it's the same thing. It almost doesn't matter, you know, is it a female, is it male, is it old, is it young, is it, it's an individual. It's, you know, your presence, you can tell, you know, it's a human, not a dog. Am I answering your question
I was just
about the...
trying to understand how they evolved, because it all looks like they fit together,
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was.
but yet they're presented as individual pieces. But the palette is the same for each, and the shapes of the figures.
Yeah, there is definitely an affinity of, although I do trail off, well, let's say in a triptych, you know, I have to sometimes pull myself back, like, you know, it's always kind of like letting yourself go and then stepping back, so I do that a lot. And I test out colors or ideas. I sketch aside from this quite a bit. I imagine I have schemes of, you know, what I want to develop, where I want to take it. And, you know, it's always a little bit of an experiment too, do this. But then there's a piece in the back, it goes a little bit outside of my usual palette. It has a lot of orange in it.
Orange, yeah, the orange instead of the red, yeah.
Right, yeah, so
Mhm.
there is I think it always has to do, like that particular piece, it's called On Fire. And it was about it was painted at the time when we had a lot of fires in California. And it almost felt like the water was on fire. So I guess the idea demands the color. Sometimes, even though I do have preference for certain, for certain palette, but it also, how it's, what is it that wants to be, what's the story that needs to be told.
I think what he's asking is, did you, when you started, did you think you were going to do a triptych of 3?
Oh,
Yeah.
specifically 3 panels?
When you first were started? Or did it sort of more?
I think it probably grew into a triptych. It could have been just maybe one piece originally, and then it sort of I didn't even think I was going to do this piece. That wasn't part of the plan in a way, but when I did that diptych on this topic, I felt like I wasn't finished. And I started making another one, and I think that didn't feel like it was fully like, the story was, my emotion was fully told. And yeah, I think it grew into a triptych.
So I have one more question.
Yeah.
You're from Ukraine,
Yep.
and Ukraine's a very interesting country. And it's always been in the middle between Europe and Russia. And it's been in the news the last year because of the Russians taking part of their territory, and Ukraine's trying to create a democracy. And so you come from that country, and your work has a lot of social statements. So I wonder if you think there's a connection, and you look at the world differently as being a person that comes from Ukraine and living in America.
Yes, I think I do. I think a lot of my, even artistic schooling, I went to art school back in Ukraine growing up. I think a lot of those talks and references and the things that I've seen that art from there, I think it all sort of influences, it builds the person, the person's view. What's happening now is very wrong. With the Russian aggression that's been, with the annexation of Crimea and things like that. And, I don't know how we can sort of talk about this. I don't have specific work dealing with those political events, but I think, like you mentioned, I think in my work there is a lot of this sort of social and kind of political views of how things work in the world. I think it's present. And it may very well be because, I have a certain worldview coming from there and being here. I think it's great that I'm here and I can fully express myself, in these terms, in the way I do. Because I just think growing up, now it's a different climate, although it's also changing in another extreme, especially in Russia, not in Ukraine. But growing up, you're always conscious about, what you can and cannot say, what you can and cannot draw. I left relatively early, I was 16, but still, grown up enough to know sort of your boundaries. And I mean, you are aware, right, what, you know, can and cannot, but, I think, you know, I'm very lucky that I'm here in this country. Freely think.
Well, I think you've done an exquisite job of portraying your emotions in your artwork. I think it's wonderful. I know it's very difficult to talk about blood, so.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Okay. So, any other questions? Hello? Okay. Okay, thank you so much.